There's our mask. I just option clicked on the mask to view it. All right, so let's look at a few of the things we could work with. First, sometimes you need to touch up the mask. And I'm not saying that in this particular image you might need to do it, but let me show you some tricks for doing it. Let's say that over in this area, I need this area where you see the transition to be more white because too much of the image is disappearing due to that kind of grays that are on the edge there. So if I paint with white though, and I come over here and simply paint with default settings, this is what I get, and that means I have to be absolutely precise. I'd have to get a relatively small brush, and I'd have to be surgically precise to get that edge to look right. Let me show you a trick where you can get away with being sloppy and still be able to touch up the edge. I'm going to change the blending mode of my brush, which is found at the top of my screen in the options bar, which is right here. I'm going to change it to a choice that is called hard mix. And then I'm going to paint. And let's see what happens. Let me try that again. I'm just going to paint. I'm painting with white. And notice, it's hard to tell exactly what's happening there, but what I can tell you is it's not affecting solid black. Did you notice the solid black areas, even though I painted way out beyond the head, they didn't change? Well, the only thing is it's making too big of a change when I paint. If I paint, you see a just dramatic change right away. So what I'm going to do is lower the opacity of my brush. I'm going to bring it down to around 20 or 30%. And now let's see what it does. I'll come over here and paint. And I'll let go. I'll do it again. I can do it again. And what's happening is it's protecting the areas that are solid black, and it's concentrating the change that I'm making into the lighter shades that are in the mask. So if I choose undo a few times here, let's try it again and let's see what happens. So I'm at 20% opacity in hard mix mode. I'm painting with white, and I'm just going to blatantly paint across here, and you'll notice that black areas are protected, and it concentrates the change into the brighter shades in the image, so I can get that. I can go over it a second time if I need more, and a third time if I need more to build it up. It'll be more effective on images that aren't as noisy as this one, because I notice the edge becoming a little grainy looking, but it can be interesting. So if you ever have any areas of hair, like maybe these little wisps of hair are barely showing up at all and you need them to be more prominent, well, if you use this particular technique, then if I come over here to these hairs and paint, watch what happens. I'll choose undo. Can you see how they thickened up a little bit, became more white? But I didn't have to have a microscopically small brush where I'm painting exactly on the hair, because I'm using a different setup where black is protected, so I don't have to worry about overspray into that surrounding area, and it concentrates on those brighter shades, and so I can go over there and do it. I can always dial my opacity to control how aggressive it is, but usually around 20 or 30% is going to work relatively well. Then I can do the exact same thing when painting with black. If I simply switch my foreground color, so I'm painting with black, now everything's been reversed. And that means that now white is being protected. And now it's going to be aggressive about changing the dark areas instead. So if I come down to part of this image, not sure where it would be most appropriate here, but if I wanted to thin these out, for instance, I can come up here now and paint, and it'll be more aggressive getting into the dark areas. But if I come over here, nothing happens to white because white is protected. So you can do it to adjust either side. It's going to protect the opposite of what you're painting with. So if you're painting with black, it's protecting white. If you're painting with white, it's protecting black. And I find that to be overly useful when working on a lot of masks that include hair. And now what you can do is, once you set this up for hard mix mode at 20% opacity, is you can create a preset for it. So you don't have to remember what was that mode and what percentage. Instead, just go over here to your brush. If you look at the options bar, you'll find there's an icon on the far left of it. And that's just a copy of the icon for the tool that I'm working with. Right next to that icon is a little down pointing arrow, and if you click on it, you can create presets. So here I already have hair, mask, brush, hide stuff, or reveal stuff. All this does is it remembers what color I'm painting with, white or black. And so to create one of those, I can click on this little icon over here on the right. Remember, to get to this, I just got in the paintbrush tool, and then at the options bar up here, I set it up the way I want it. I click on this little arrow, and I click that guy. And then I could say, I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever you feel is useful. This part here called include color means remember the color I'm painting with, my foreground color. So that when I choose this preset in the future, it will switch your foreground color to that color. And therefore you can name it whatever you think is most useful. Just make sure your foreground color is set to what you need before you turn that on. Whereas right now I didn't look at mine, so I'm not sure if it's set up appropriately. Click OK, and when you do, you would have a new preset. I already have these two presets, so I don't need to create new ones. But if I clicked on these, then I can easily switch between them. I have my default brush over here, which is nice because then that gets me out of it. Because otherwise you're going to go to use the brush tool in the future and it's not going to act the way you're used to it. So now I got nice 3 little presets here, default brush, and then that automatically sets me to hard mix, 20% opacity, painting with black. So I think that is a nice way where you don't have to remember how it's done. You just need to remember you saved it somewhere.